Hello there, Star Wars fans. Today I want to go over one of the biggest questions in all of Star Wars. Did Palpatine throw the fight to Mace Windu? Did he lose on purpose? I believe that while Mace was an even match for Palpatine, he did in fact allow himself to lose, as it helped his grand plan to succeed. Palpatine was always one step ahead, and that's talked about a lot in the Revenge of the Sith novel and just what I think about. So let's go over it all. I believe Palpatine did, at least in some part, allow himself to lose. Before we do, please leave a like. Please subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this. Do you think Palpatine lost on purpose? Do you think he just adjusted his plan after he was cornered in the window? Do you think he just wanted to kill Windu? Let me know. I'd love to converse about it, as always. So, thank you. And let's quickly go over all this. So, while Palpatine ended up fighting Mace, remember, it was his own doing. He wanted that, kind of. After he'd revealed himself to a Sith Lord to Anakin, it was expected from Palpatine that Anakin would do what he felt was right, at least at the beginning. He still had some trust in the Jedi, and his entire life was based around being a Jedi and destroying the Sith. So Palpatine goes to him, reveals his identity. What's Anakin gonna do? He's not going to immediately turn himself to the Sith, but the conflict inside of him is gonna grow more than it ever had. So, Anakin goes and tells the Jedi. Palpatine expected this. He expected a group of Jedi to come and confront him, with Anakin joining later to see that the Jedi were truly taking over, at least from a certain point of view. Palpatine executed this plan perfectly. He spent years manipulating Anakin to stop trusting the Jedi, to then reveal his identity, and then have Anakin show up to the battle just as Mace was about to kill him. Anakin would arrive in time only to see Mace cutting down the helpless Chancellor, rather than the evil Sith Lord. To the novel now, for the perspective from Palpatine, Windu, and Anakin. The Coruscant nightfall was spreading through the galaxy. The darkness in the Force was no hindrance to the shadow, the Sith Lord, in the Chancellor's office. It was the darkness. Wherever darkness dwelled, the shadow could send perception. In the night, the shadow felt the boy's anguish, and it was good. The shadow felt the grim determination of 4 Jedi Masters approaching by air. This, too, was good. So, that scene is when Anakin is in the council and the Jedi Masters are traveling over to him. Palpatine felt out in the Force, knowing 4 Jedi were coming to fight him, to try to kill him. And he was happy about this. He thought this was good, because he knew what would happen. And he could also feel Anakin, feel his anguish. And he knew Anakin would be joining them shortly. He knew Anakin was going to come to the battle. He was counting on it. He had to be. And now in the battle, this is now fast forwarding to the scene where Anakin arrives to the battle, and it's approaching the end. This is how that went down in the novel. He could feel the end of this battle approaching, and so could the blur of the Sith he faced. In the Force, the shadow had become a pulsar of fear. Easily, almost effortlessly, he turned the shadow's fear into a weapon. He angled the battle to bring them both out onto the window's ledge. Out in the wind, out with the lightning, out on a rain-slick ledge above a half-kilometer drop. Out where the shadow's fear made it hesitate. Out where the shadow's fear turned some of its force-powered speed into a force-powered grip on the ledge. Out where Mace could flick his blade in one precise arc and slash the Sith Lord's lightsaber in half. One piece flipped back in through the cut-open window. The other tumbled from opening fingers, bounced on the ledge, and fell through the rain towards the distant alleys below. And now the shadow was only Palpatine, old and shrunken, thinning hair bleached white by time and care, face linen with exhaustion. And Mace spoke to him, with Anakin at the doorway now. "For all your power, you are no Jedi. All you are, my lord," Mace said evenly, staring past his blade, "is under arrest." And as Anakin had arrived, Palpatine had lost and now looked just like Palpatine, looked just like the old man, and he looked over to Anakin. "Do you see, Anakin? Do you?" Palpatine's voice once again had the broken cadence of a frightened old man's. "Didn't I warn you of the Jedi and their treason?" Mace responded, "Save your twisted words, my lord. There are no politicians here. The Sith will never regain control of the Republic. It's over. You've lost." Mace leveled his blade. "You've lost by the same reason the Sith always lose. Defeated by your own fear." And Palpatine lifted his head. His eyes smoked with hate. "Fool," he said. He lifted his arms, his robes of office spreading wide into raptor's wings, his hands hooking into talons. "Fool!" His voice was a shout of thunder. "Do you think the fear you feel is mine?" Palpatine yelled at him. Lightning blasted the clouds above, and lightning blasted from Palpatine's hands, and Mace didn't have time to comprehend what Palpatine was talking about. He only had time to slip back into Vapad and angle his blade to catch the forking arcs of pure, dazzling hatred that clawed towards him. Because Vapad is more than a fighting style, it's a state of mind, a channel for darkness. Power passed into him and out of him without touching him, and the circuit completed itself. The lightning reflected back to its source. So, back to me. Mace spent the entire end of the fight utilizing the fear that he felt coming from Palpatine. But Palpatine had no fear. He had planned this entire thing. He had no fear because this is what years of his perfect plan were leading to. The fear that Mace was feeling, the fear that Mace was using, the fear that Mace thought was coming from Palpatine was coming from Anakin. The fear started once Anakin really showed up. Anakin feared losing Palpatine, losing Padme. He feared the Jedi were the traitors. He feared it all. And Mace was using it, thinking it was Palpatine's fear of him. He was wrong. Back to the novel now. "Anakin," Mace called. His voice sounded distant, blurred as if it came from the bottom of a well. "Anakin, help me. This is your chance." He felt Anakin's leap from the office floor to the ledge, felt this approach behind him, and Palpatine was not afraid. Mace could feel it now. He wasn't worried at all. "Destroy this traitor," the Chancellor said, his voice raised over the howl of writhing energy that joined his hands to Mace's blade. "This was never an arrest. It's an assassination," Palpatine yelled. That was when Mace finally understood. He had it. The key to final victory. Palpatine's Shatterpoint. The absolute Shatterpoint of the Sith. The Shatterpoint of the dark side itself. Mace thought, blankly, astonished. Palpatine trusts Anakin Skywalker. Now Anakin was at Mace's shoulder. Palpatine still made no move to defend himself from Skywalker. Instead, he ramped up the lightning bursting from his hands, bending the fountain of Mace's blade back toward the Master's face. Alright, back to me again. And as we all know from this point, Mace Windu lost. Palpatine won. Palpatine was always going to win. Anakin cut Mace down in the end. Palpatine and Mace were the opposite in the worst way for this. After all these years of Mace being distrustful towards Anakin, he was proven right in not trusting him, but it was his undoing in not trusting him, that led to Anakin cutting him down, and Palpatine for all these years built trust, built friendship, that led to Anakin being on his side in the most crucial moment of the entire war. And on the other hand, the final revelation before his death, Mace realized Palpatine truly trusted Anakin. It all clicked together. He wasn't even thinking of defending himself from Anakin. Palpatine knew it. He knew Anakin was on his side. So yes, I think Palpatine lost on purpose. I think Palpatine ended up in the corner of the window, cowering and begging for his life, on purpose. He was never going to lose. He had nearly convinced Anakin the Jedi were going to turn on the Republic, back when he revealed that he was a Sith Lord. He just needed that final bit of proof, that final bit of hope, or that final bit of misery for Anakin to join him. And when Anakin saw Mace about to cut down the defenseless Palpatine, it all clicked into place. He also needed Anakin to be the one to cut down Windu. If Anakin had just walked up to Palpatine, standing over a heap of Jedi bodies, things get weird. The fight was all about Anakin seeing what Palpatine wanted him to see. More manipulation up until the end, up until Anakin's entire life as Darth Vader. Palpatine used him in the best way to get exactly what Palpatine wanted. That's the tragedy of Anakin. It's sad, but Anakin saw what Palpatine wanted him to see, and Anakin saw what, in the end, he truly wanted to see. He had to save Padme. He knew the Jedi weren't going to do it. He needed a reason to betray the Jedi, and this was it. So yes, I think Palpatine did overall, at least, maybe not completely lose on purpose, but I think he at least allowed himself to lose. He didn't fear losing this fight, because he knew, in the end, he would win. So that's the video. Let me know what you thought. Thank you for watching. And I'll see you in the next video.